Page 32, a classic rag. It's a ragtime piece. On page 32, they are discussing or showing you or introducing you to or talking about or whatever they're doing the diminished seventh chord. We use this a lot. This chord, I like this chord. It's a fun chord. When I learn to play the arpeggios, the first chord I typically do is the diminished seventh chord. Because there's only 3 different patterns for a diminished seventh chord on a keyboard, and 2 of those patterns are very similar. And the idea with a diminished seventh is pretty simple. It's minor thirds stacked on each other. So if we start with a C, you got to know what a minor third is. If you don't, I've lost you already. So I'm going to pretend you know what a minor third is, and you can go look it up, I guess. I'm not sure. But this is a major third. A minor third is just one less. Or you can go up 3 half steps. Okay, I told you what a minor third is. Okay. Minor third, here, minor third, and then another minor third takes you back to the original key. So you're here. And that's a diminished seventh chord. Don't know which one it is, but it's a diminished seventh chord. I can do any key on the keyboard and go up minor thirds. I get a diminished seventh chord. Now let's go back and try and understand all these flats and sharps they've stuck in here. If you look right above classic rag, you see that line and all that stuff? Well, this is where the double flats come in, where they say, why do you need a double flat? In this first one, you have a C, B flat, or an E flat, a G flat, and a B double flat. You say, why don't they just use an A? Well, technically, it's not the same note, but on a piano it is, because that's the way pianos do. Now, a seventh chord for C would be here, although typically when we talk about a seventh chord, we flatten the top note. It's here. Most of the time, that's what it's used for. It's used to modulate or go into another key. This leads into the key of F very nicely, because F has one flat. Here we're introducing a flat. I'm getting off the subject. I'll get back on. Okay. But if I take that C7 chord, I simply lower the top 3 notes a half a step from where they are. I get a diminished seventh. So I'm going to take this one and down. I'm going to take this one down. And I'm going to take that B flat down again. So it's a B double flat. It's just 2 flat signs. And that's a C diminished seventh chord. They give you others. You got a C sharp diminished seventh is here. They just went up 1. Just start with a C sharp and go up minor thirds. Here. They're not showing the top note. It's just 4. It's here. And then go up again. We got here. And then we go up again. And we got here. They're going up half steps is all they're doing. But occasionally you run into a double flat. And that's what they're for. And there is such a thing as a double sharp, which is a similar kind of a thing, except it's not 2 sharp signs. It's a little bitty X. Now, tell me the logic in that. Ugh, it's music. What can I say? You can read about what they have to say about it. I haven't read it. I'm too lazy to do that. I'm just remembering from what I remember in college and in practicing these diminished seventh arpeggios, because they're all minor thirds apart. It's ideal for learning the arpeggios because it forces the fingers to spread out, and that's what you need. So the 3rd and 4th fingers typically take the 2 black notes, and then everybody else takes the others, and that's what it is. Whatever the 2 black notes are, that they're going to do that. There is a pattern that only has 1 black note. In that case, the 4th finger takes it. And that's the fingering for all the diminished seventh chords. I just taught you all of them right there in every key. Used a lot in minor keys, used a lot in jazz. We got it ragtime here. At the beginning, first 2 measures, they look ugly. They're just diminished seventh chords. You G sharp, and you go up a half a step, or go up a minor third. Second measure, it's an F, go up a minor third. And that's it. So once you've figured out the pattern, then the notes aren't quite so intimidating. So that rather than trying to do all these notes, think of it as the chord. that's not quite so bad. And that's the 7th chord. You get them again on page 33. You see them over there on the 4th line down. And then 2 measures later, they're diminished chords. I'd like to talk about this rag. This is kind of fun. Right hand first. Now, at the bottom here on page 32, the 2nd, 3rd measure, your right hand is doing this chord. It's finishing up this chord. Going into the 3rd measure, I recommend a 4 on that, so you can connect it, because you just used the 5th finger. I don't want to use it again so soon if I don't have to, so it's here. Then I can use 5th on the 2nd C. Then on the last chord on that page, on page 32, I finger it 2, 3, 5, because I just played an F, and if I take all 4 of those notes, that's the fingering for the chord. So that's how I finger it. You get the same thing at the end of the 3rd line on page 33, and I'll finger that chord 2, 3, 5 also. Other than that, you can pretty much just do their fingering the way they've got it. As far as the left hand goes, I don't have a lot to say in the left hand except bounce along. They have pedal for the first couple of measures for those chords, and that's it until you get to the chords again on 32, page 32. But otherwise, it should bounce along. So at the, here at the beginning, if I pedal, bum, bum, bum. Normally, if I get notes that go up or down the scale, I might connect them. Here at the bottom, the last 2 measures on page 32, it's here. I might connect these notes for some contrast, so it's here. Everybody doesn't do that. Some people will disconnect all of them, but I don't. You get the same thing on page 33 in the 2nd line, because you're kind of bouncing along in the left hand. Look at the 2nd line. We're starting out here. Thumb on both the C and the D. That's what that means with that little thing. And then I'll connect these. It's just me. You figure out how you want to do it. They don't give you the articulation. You're pretty much free to interpret it as you see fit. As far as the roadmap on this thing goes, page 33, you got a sign and a reverse repeat sign both together up there at the top. Well, on the 3rd line, you got 1st and 2nd endings, so you're going to use the reverse repeat sign there. And 2nd ending, when you play the 2nd ending, go on to the next line. Then you go to the bottom line, you got 1st and 2nd repeat signs. That's going to send you back to the 4th line, the reverse repeat sign there, so you can play that twice. And then when you do the 2nd ending at the bottom of the page on 33, you go back to the top, the sign, the DS, and you go down to the 3rd line, and now you play the 2nd ending, and you can stop there if you want. There's a fine. Or they have a note at the bottom that's optional saying you can go ahead and play the introduction, which is the line on page 32. That's introduction. Play it, what do they say? Both hands 8 VA. So when you finish the 2nd ending on 33 and I'm done with it, I'm here, I can play that introduction again on 32 if I want, but I'm just going to pretend middle C goes up an octave, and I'm going to go here. If you want. I'm not going to actually do that, but you get the idea if you want to do that. It's adding a coda. What they know is a coda is kind of a tag on the end of a piece. It's an afterthought. It's not part of the piece, it's just an afterthought. Although some codas and some pieces are very important, and they're almost like they're part of the piece. I won't get into that. However, I'd like to play through this kind of slowly to give you an idea of what it might sound like. I'm not going to show the pedal because it's just a little bit of pedal, so I'm not going to bother, but I am going to go ahead and use it. I'd play it something like this, although I'm going to play it slow. I speed it up. It says moderato, but you know about a gentle, typical ragtime. You don't play it really fast, you don't play it really slow. It's just kind of a fun piece, and that's how fast you'd play it. 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Two, 3, 4.